Welcome to Marketing MASH, brought to you by themarketingscope.com.
Hi, this is Eric Vidal, Editor and Chief Content Officer at The Marketing Scope. Welcome. So today we have Jay Adams, CEO and founder of Makesbridge. They are a marketing automation platform. They are located and headquartered in lovely Northern California. Welcome, Jay.
Thanks, Eric. Good
And
to
so
talk to
Jay's
you.
been a friend of The Marketing Scope for quite some time, and I know you've written a couple pieces, but this is our first time we've got you on video, so thanks for joining.
Oh, you're welcome.
So
Great to
let's
catch up.
get right into it. We have a hot topic: email delivery demystified.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of news, conversations, even just personal friends of mine in the business who focus on email marketing. I mean, it's like, what the heck's going on? There's a lot of interesting thing going on around delivery, and I really want to get your insight on that. And so I'll just kick it off with that. I mean, can you give us some insight on what's going on with some of these delivery challenges?
Yeah, and before I get there, I probably should tell you a little bit about return path. If the folks out there aren't familiar, return path is like the 800-pound gorilla of deliverability. Even that organization itself has ended up in my bulk folder, which means that they're ending up in other bulk folders as well. So rest assured, everybody that's out there that's attending this video or web seminar, everyone's having issues with it, and things have dropped off the table. But again, the good news is it can be reversed by following some best practices. So getting back to the question about what's happened. Well, this is really bad practices coming to roost. It all started, a little while ago when ESPs were super duper cheap and they were looking to grab market share, and you had all these marketers out there that were just carpet bombing. And I don't think that comes as a surprise to anyone. But what's happened, obviously, is that the email boxes have become so overstuffed, and the ISPs have had to finally take some very austere measures around blocking email or sending it to spam or what have you. So the ISPs in recent months have gotten extremely smart about how they're filtering email. In the old days, it was just about the IP address that you were sending from, maybe your from address, and then we're all familiar with those, the spam check, like, do I have spammy terms? Is my design poor? Well, actually, it shifted. It shifted to be completely focused on what the audience is doing with your emails. Opening them, are they clicking, are they replying? And that's one of the things that Return Path in their 2016 delivery report cited as the most important thing, which again is audience engagement.
Well, so one of the other things I remember I read, Jay, is if you're constantly deleting somebody's email, they start to pick up on that and then they'll move it to spam. Is that correct as well?
Absolutely. And that's just one thing that, the mindset of the audience needs to be is that you've got a thumbprint. So whatever actions are being taken by the audience and all the different parts of your emails, they are documented. And it's no different than Google spidering websites and understanding the profile of a web page. It's the same exact thing. So they're building data about your emails and about you as a brand.
So ReturnPath says many marketers still don't measure or benchmark their deliverability. What are the benchmarks that our audience should be looking for?
Well, depending on the technology that you have and the various services that you're subscribing to, the number one metric that we look at with our clients is we want to see gaining momentum of net new openers, net new clickers for any given campaign or any given month. So, what we want to see when we're working with these clients are those statistics right there. And then another statistic we keep a very, very close eye on is our last 30-day openers. So we want to see that number growing. Case in point, successful company that we worked with, they benchmark at about 8,800 opens in the last 30 days. And then we've seen it go up to 22,000. In that particular instance, they were having Gmail delivery issues. But that's what we're really concerned about, is because that's going to tell you right there, your net new openers, net new clickers, and your last 30-day openers. are you winning that daily popularity contest with your audience?
Yeah, that's a good point. So here's a point from the Return Path report. They say that deliverability rules have been added to the old rules, and marketers haven't really caught up. So what are they telling us when they say that?
Well, the old rules were, again, it was what the IP address was and what the design of the emails were and some spammy, non-spammy terms. Those were the old rules on deliverability. And that's where you had return path taken off, taking a look at your IP reputation or your ESP's IP reputations. And then you had tools like Litmus and Email on Acid evaluating your emails. Basically, the optics of your emails, if you will. But again, those new rules are kind of getting back to my explanation in the last response, was you got to look at how your audience is engaging with your emails. That's like the number one thing that you need to be looking for. And a lot of marketers aren't caught up to that yet. They're still stuck in the old paradigm. It's convenient to get into those tools and take those measurements. But they haven't adopted again to those new metrics that I just mentioned.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in our audience that are, for lack of a better term, Jack and Jills of all trades, right? They're the marketing manager at a B2B company or even a director where they have to wear a few different hats. So they're not always well versed in what's going on out there. So I think this report can help. I know that you have your URL up so people can go get more information there at makesbridge.com / what was it? Better Delivery?
Better Delivery.
Yeah. So go there for more information. But I got another question here. Common deliverability playbooks don't take marketers' most important metrics into account. So can you give an example of that?
Well, I guess we'll start with the playbook itself. So the playbook is a lot of what I described, where you're having to do take a less is more attitude, and it's quality, not quantity positioning. So that's the playbook. What are you going to do to make sure that you're winning that popularity contest? An authentic approach, a creative approach, really digging down into the needs and desires of your audience. That's the new playbook. Now, the marketing objectives typically for a B2C company and even B2B is more and more and more and more. Get more email out there. Hey, somebody just signed up for our form. Let's just start, sending them email, right? We've had one case where the CEO was giving the directive to his people to just, the email volume, the email performance is slipping. Send more. So in this particular case, they're coming to us with 7 million emails, and the edict is to send more email. And what the CEO didn't know was that basically he was killing his own list by doing that. So that, as you can see, runs contrary to the new playbook, which is less is more.
So I get what you're saying when you say the killing his list, but maybe give our audience a little bit of, some range. What could happen? For example, what kind of percentage or decrease can they see when they do something like that?
Okay, so let's take that example again. First of all, the organization had come to us because they were having deathly delivery issues with Gmail, really bad. When we benchmarked them, they were only getting about a 3% open rate, which is just obviously not going to, be sufficient to use that medium, particularly for that ISP, to generate revenue. So when I'm talking about killing it off, in my opinion, and I'm sure in the opinion of a lot of people out there, a 3% open rate is not going to cut it. So that's what we're talking about. That's the most sort of dramatic sort of thing you could see is a 3% open rate. And frankly, we've seen them even less than that, depending on what, different issues that a company might be having. Form spam, bad addresses, deteriorating reputation, etc. If I might sum up on that, by applying the new delivery models, we've gone from a 3% up to, I believe we're at 36 or 37% penetration of openers on Gmail for that same company, because we were able to reel them in a little bit and again focus on that new delivery model.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to the statement I made earlier about a lot of our audience, they wear a lot of different hats. And so they may not take this as serious as they should or could have, but now because of some of the challenges that have been going on the last few months, it's kind of top of mind. So how can some of these people, or anyone in general, get started and turn their situation around?
Well, the first necessary step is if they're acknowledging it as an issue, which isn't really hard to acknowledge because you're looking at your email reports. The next thing is you want to make a commitment to becoming what we call a victorious data marketer, where you are working to understand your database, your audience, and coming up with creative ways to market to them.
Yeah.
So once you've sort of gotten past that, or once you've identified that as something that you're going to be committed to, whether it's the time you're going to spend educating yourself through interviews like this, and a platform that can help get it all done, and perhaps some people to help you go through it, then you're going to be on your way, because it's not rocket science. And I cited Return Path at the top of the conversation. I mean, they too have had delivery issues, but they're fine in my inbox now. But I swear, half of their email was going to my bulk folder because I wasn't engaging with their email, and they figured it out. And everybody else can too. It's just a matter of wanting to do it.
That's great. That's positive. That's a good way to end. And Sean Elledge, who's really good at database marketing, email marketing, was looking at through some of our data, and they were looking on our marketing automation platform and said good things, which made me happy because I'm always skeptical and nervous and what have you. And just so everyone knows, we use Makesbridge, and we've had some good success. So, thank you, Jay, for helping us with that. And so what happens if somebody wants to get in contact with you, maybe to get more information? Obviously, there's the URL. Can you give them your email address as well?
Yeah, I would love to. Anyone having issues out there and they want to try to turn things around, it's the letter J, Adams, ADAMS, like the president, at makesbridge.com. So if you shoot me an email, have a read, and either get in touch with you directly or have one of our consultants give you a ring and see what your situation is.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Jay. And I know that, like I said, Jay's written some articles for the Marketing Scope, so some of his articles are on our site. You can also learn more on their blog at makesbridge.com. So, Jay, thank you so much for sharing this insight, and hope to have you on again, because I know that this is a real challenge out there, and there's some other topics similar to this I'd like to talk with you. So, thank you.
Great. Oh, you're very welcome. Definitely a pleasure.
That's it for this episode of Marketing MASH. You can share your thoughts by following us on Twitter and Facebook. Subscribe to our podcast to keep up with the show. And of course, you can always find us by visiting themarketingscope.com.